Okay, now I'll talk about what sometimes seems to be cruel and what sometimes seems to be compassionate. Is not exactly so. Okay, the first one is sometimes we have to be cruel to be kind, especially parents with their children. If the children needs a spanking, give them a spanking. That's actually kind, it's not cruel. Because the small boy, when you spank him, he will not think that you are kind to him, but that is actually being more kind than unkind. Now, the Buddha said that if a person conducts himself well in body, speech, and mind, then even though he says he hates himself, actually he loves himself. But if a person misconducts himself in body, speech and mind, even though he thinks that he loves himself, actually he hates himself because he's causing himself suffering, either now or in future. For example, if a person breaks the precepts, for example, he cheats, he thinks to benefit himself, he cheats the company of millions of dollars to benefit himself, but he's actually harming himself, not benefiting himself, and he's going to suffer for a long time in the future. So such a person does not love himself. So the Buddha also said that in teaching others we should use a soft approach, and if it doesn't work, we should use the hard approach, and if necessary, then the soft and hard approach. So there was this sutta called the KC Sutta. This KC was a horse trainer, a well-known horse trainer. And one day he came to see the Buddha, and the Buddha knew that he was a horse trainer, so he could discipline horses so well. So Buddha asked him, how do you discipline the horses? How do you train them? Then he says he uses the soft approach, meaning they like to eat sugar cane, he give them sugar cane, and they like to eat sweets, and whatever food they like to eat, he gives them and coaxes them to do whatever he instructs them to do. And he says if this doesn't work, then he uses the hard approach, either whip them or take the goat stick and poke into their skin. And then the Buddha asks, what if the soft approach and the hard approach doesn't work? Then he said, in that case, I destroy the horse in order that it not bring shame to the stable, right? His master. Then he asked the Buddha, Bhagavan, you are also a trainer, you're a trainer of men. How do you tame your men? Then the Buddha said, I also use the soft approach, I also use the hard approach. Then he asked, what is a soft approach? Then the Buddha says, I explain what is good karma, what is good conduct in body, speech and mind. And I explain the result of that is rebirth in the heavens or in the human realm to enjoy. Then what is the hard approach? Then the Buddha said, I explain about the three evil karmas, body, speech and mind, and how these three evil karmas bring you to rebirth in the woeful planes, in the ghost, animal and hell realm. That is frightening, but that's the hard approach. And also both the soft and hard approach. Then he asked the Buddha, what if this doesn't work? Then the Buddha said, then I kill the man. Then he said, Bhagavan, you are Arhan, Sammasambuddha, surely you don't kill a man. Then the Buddha said, yes, in the Aryan discipline, it is death to a man when his teachers or his companions in the holy life refuse to teach him the Dhamma. So, if you have no opportunity to learn the Dhamma, then you are not progressing in the spiritual path. Then you might as well be dead. You're just like a dead man. How can mà con khi si cả vô? because you are wasting your life. The Buddha says, if you live 100 years and you don't practice the spiritual path, it is better you live one day and practice the spiritual path. In fact, if you live 100 years and you don't practice the spiritual path, you are going backwards. Because every day in our human existence, we are using our blessings. Day after day, we use our blessings. 100 years later, you're already in the red. The bankrupt business. Sipun and Singli. So that is death in the Aryan discipline. So that's why if parents, if children, they need to be taught the hard way, give them the hard way. Sometimes they need to be, you need to use the software. You do your homework. Tomorrow I'll bring you to McDonald's or something. So give the spanking when it's necessary. Nowadays, the other day, in fact, somebody told me, a lady told me, the husband said, Bhante, I see is to spank the child. He's out of date. He's in the long ago time. He said, nowadays nobody spank their children. Father said. But then you see in the West, they don't spank their children. What do they do? They ask the child to go up to his room and lock the room, don't come out. Right? That's one way. Another way, favorite TV program, cannot see. These are ways and means to show them you mean business. Right? So that is, need to be cruel, to be kind. Now the second thing I like to talk about is in the suttas. One day, this big, huge deva by the name of Rahu, is an asura, very huge. One day he caught the moon deva, Chandima, caught the moon deva, was about to kill the moon deva. I don't know why they want to eat him up or what. So this moon deva called out to the Buddha for help. Then the Buddha is not always in deep samadhi, so the Buddha happened to know. And then the Buddha responded by talking very loudly to this Rahu, Sasura, asking Rahu to release this Chandima Deva. Said, Buddha has compassion for beings, and this Deva is called out to my name, so you release him. So this Rahu, when he heard this loud sound of the Buddha, quickly released this moon Deva and flew back to his Asura heaven and was trembling from head to foot, shaking all over. So the Asura king saw him and asked him, what happened to you? Why are you shaking like a leaf? Then he told him what happened just now. Then he said, if I had not released that Chandima Deva, my head would have split into 7 pieces. So you see, when the Buddha gives instruction like that, and they don't eat it, the head can split into 7 pieces. Is that being unkind? That's not being unkind. Buddha is being compassionate to this Chandima Deva, and he's not causing this Rahu's head to split. If the Rahu did not respond to the Buddha's instruction, his head would have split. That is his own doing, right? So you see, why? From here you can see maybe why 99.9% of Pachika Buddhas don't teach. If they teach and you don't listen to the Pachika Buddha, creating very bad karma. That's why in the suttas, whenever the Buddha teaches the Dhamma, anybody he teaches to will become a stream enterer. If that person cannot become a stream enterer, the Buddha will not teach him. Because the Buddha teach him, he doesn't become a stream enterer, he's creating very, very bad karma. Right? He does not believe what the Buddha says. Right?